Hi, I'm Jim, W6LG or YouTube Elmer for Ham Radio Basics. Thanks for joining me in my radio room here in Rockland, California. I'm hooking up the equipment. I finally decided on a layout. It's not perfect. There's some things I don't like. Other things work okay. But I'm going to connect it. So let's take a look at that right after this. I was very happy to receive, through the effort of Mark Flaherty, W1MBF, an Elmer Award, which says in part, by carrying on the time-honored tradition in amateur radio of sharing knowledge and providing guidance and support, you're ensuring that others may experience the wonder, excitement, and friendship of amateur radio. This is what I settled on. To the left of the main station is UHF, VHF, digital. The Yaesu 450 is going to be on digital. The ICOM IC7000 is going to be UHF, VHF. There's a handheld there, the ubiquitous UV5R, which I don't like. And there's a Kenwood handheld behind that, and a generic Radio Shack scanner. So that's all the stuff on the left, and I had to add a shelf just to hold that stuff. The main station then are the K3S modified to S, the pan adapter from Elecraft to go with the K3s. Above that are watt meters, and for me that's real important that the watt meters be right in front. So as I'm transmitting, I can keep one eye on those watt meters and make certain I've got output and something hasn't gone wrong. Above that you'll see a couple of antenna tuners, one of them which goes with the Elecraft amplifier, which is to the right of the pan adapter. Above the Elecraft amplifier is a homebrew antenna tuner with a couple of knobs. To the left of that is an MN2000 Drake antenna tuner. To the left of that are a couple of Drake W4 watt meters. They were part of an antenna switching system at the old location. Above that and almost out of reach are the control boxes for antenna rotators. I'm not real happy with that location, but that's where they ended up. On the far right, in the middle, is the Nye Viking antenna tuner, which is good for really high power. It's built really strong. And then to the right of all of that stuff are a couple of amplifiers. One is a homebrew amp in a Drake box. The other box to the right of that is the power supply. Those two combined weigh about 100 pounds, and so I had to reinforce the deck to hold the weight. That's a close-up of the Elecraft amplifier, the KPA 500, and that's solid state and what I'll use most of the time. And there's the power supply for a single GS35B. To the right of that is a Holley modified Drake L4B with a pair of 3500Zs and about 3400 volts on the plates and some bias. The little box on top of that is a controller. The relays inside one of those draw some current, so that little box helps resolve issues between the transceiver and the amplifier. The black box that you're looking at is the power supply for the Drake L4B with a Peterdahl transformer and higher voltage. Underneath the desk is what amounts to a large platform with 6 wheels. That large platform is where I put the power supplies, antenna switching relays, and computers. Back up, and there's a couple of computers, 2 power supplies, one 12 volt, both actually are 12 volts. Well, they're supposed to be. The one on the top has a problem, and at first I thought it was something I was connecting to it. As it turns out, that power supply will sometimes deliver 12 volts and other times about 22 volts. And I found that if I tap the top of it, the voltage changes. So I disconnected everything. I hope I didn't do any damage to what I did have connected. So all the solder lugs were removed from the power supply in hopes to resolve that. I put a digital voltmeter on a distribution strip that I'm going to use that has an on and off switch. The digital voltmeter will read down to about 5 volts, so it's there to show what voltage that power supply is putting out. And let's take a look. Okay, it's 13.7. It's strobing just a bit because of the camera speed. And I'm going to tap the top, and you can see as I do tap it, it changes. There's 14.6, and ultimately it'll go to almost 23 volts, and there's 22.9, which could do damage to whatever is connected. So we're going to need to figure that out, and I think I'm going to open that as part of a YouTube video and take a look inside and see if I can figure out what the heck has happened. The computers that are there are installed backwards on the shelf so I can get to the connections, and it may not be very pretty that way, but I'm constantly plugging things into like the audio and really wanted access to them. So that's the station. What I'm going to do now is show some video of the grounding system that's underneath the desk top. So let me get to that. Okay, so take a look at the pipe that's running along. Now it's a copper pipe, a 3/4 inch copper pipe. It's connected to that copper strap that I ran everywhere in the walls, and the copper strap is the grounding system. I don't believe that in most ham radio stations an RF ground, if there is such a thing, could be achieved because the path to that ground is too high of an impedance. Framework of the desk, those are sensors for the various watt meters. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, it's all bonded to the frame of the desk, and then it goes into the walls into almost a, wouldn't call it a cage, but the whole room has a foil insulation, and that foil is connected to that ground strap. The clips you see that are generic from Home Depot are going to be the way I'll connect a large flat strap from the equipment down to that copper pipe. And there's again another example of where I've attached it to the leg of the desktop. So that's the grounding system for the station, such as it is. Want to see what happens. What I'm going to do is an experiment, and that is to disconnect the grounding system and see if it really makes a difference. So I'm going to do it with a connected, with a disconnected, see if there's a change in the noise level. I suspect that there will not be. Again, the desk frame itself is steel, and there's a lot of it because it's supporting a lot of weight. It's from IKEA, and then this copper pipe is attached to the legs at the 3 legs at those 3 places. All right, that's what's under the desk and what's on top of the desk. And in the next video, we'll talk about station layout and what goes where. That seems to be an interesting question. If you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please post them below.